Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Chattering with Nicholas Vince. We're a couple of minutes late, but never mind. So in a couple of moments, I'm going to introduce you to Blair. But before I do, let me just thank everybody who's subscribed on YouTube and on the new unlike the new Chattering with Nicholas Vince page. That's great. That's definitely going to be the place from now, because I'm closing down the group that I was running on Facebook. So the page is the place to go, so you can see who's coming up and new and share posts to help spread the word. Before we go much further, I just wanted to show people, if I can, the Hellbound Heart CD.
They're beautiful.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah,
really nice. I was chatting with Simon last week, the producer, Simon Barnard, and that came in the post the following day. So if you have a chance, it's available on Bafflegab Productions website. You can either order the CD or there's a download, and it's about, not sure, it's probably about $15-16 for the CD plus postage. That's not bad at all. I mean, it's going to be plus postage, I guess, but and then the download is about $10, something like that. I know the British prices, and that's me doing very weird calculations in my head. Anyway, hello, Blair.
Hi.
You look wonderful.
Thank you.
I love the hat. Where's the hat come from? Is that a fedora?
I guess it's kind of a fedora. So I'm trying to embrace my inner cowgirl, you know. So I'm trying to get that cowgirl goth chic look, you know.
I've not heard of a cowgirl goth chic look, but you're rocking it. I have to say, you are definitely rocking it.
Thank you. And I've got my Boris up here watching down on us.
Oh, so, bless him.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, we're good to go.
We're good to go. Okay, cool.
It's so good to see your face. You look great too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, good. Just been running. We've been rushing around for all day doing housework. Actually, I've been watching films. I've been watching the films in preparation for the show.
Lord in heaven, me too. I feel like I've seen 100 million movies in the past 2 months.
Really?
So, but I have to mention. A Quiet Place. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I've seen trailers for it.
Nicholas, go immediately. I'm telling you, I watched it 2 days in a row. New favorite movie. I'm obsessed. Really? I'm obsessed.
I've heard really good positive comments about who's the director.
It's John Krasinski.
Right.
Is that how you say it? Krasinski.
Krasinski.
Well, he's from The Office. He's the comedian.
Right.
He directed it, and it's like first time screenwriters or whatever, and he just fell in love with the script. But it's perfect in every way, and original stuff, I think. But callbacks to Alien and Jurassic Park even. It was great. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm really good at not looking at stuff online if I'm interested in a movie. So I've kind of seen the first 10 seconds or so, and I'll avoid trailers. I avoid everything because I hate spoilers so much. Speaking of spoilers, I should just say that we're going to be discussing Suspiria, Twilight Zone, the movie, and The Shining. Naturally, there will be spoilers, and we'll also be talking about short films. So as much as possible, we'll avoid it, particularly for the short films that are part of Fear Haus, because we really want people to watch those. But okay, so let's start with that. Let's start with Fear Haus. So you've done season 2. How many episodes? I found 4. Is it?
So we have in total 24 episodes of the original season and the new season, which is actually 2 blocks. So we shot 6 episodes with Molly Coffey, who's a director and set decorator in Atlanta, and also my new partner in Fear Haus. So she has joined forces with Drew and I. So now we're a beautiful little triad. So it's wonderful that she's on board with us in that way as well. But she shot and directed 6, and then Lucha Gore last March flew in, and the whole team, and they came and did 6 more episodes. So we've yet to air those, but they're coming, and they're fantastic. And then also the big news is, and I've kind of teased this, but I haven't like officially announced or anything, we're going to be doing a Fear Week a week of Fear Haus, and we're shooting 60 new episodes. 60.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're bringing in 12 directors from as far as London, and I'll let you guess who that is. And it's not Liam either. It's not Liam.
No, he's not a London-based one. Female, possibly?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. I've got an idea who it might
She
be.
is fantastic. I absolutely adore her, and I can't wait for her to be in Atlanta. But so her and a couple other directors from around the States, and then a few from Atlanta, and they're going to come in, and they're each going to get 5 episodes apiece to do wraparounds. And yeah, we'll have enough Fear Haus till 2020.
Wow.
So, and the reason we're doing that is because we want to have a continuous flow of films while Drew and Molly and I are working on some bigger Fear Haus projects behind the scenes.
Right.
So, but we want to keep the fear coming. And I know we've had some lulls, and it's been 3 years. I'm about to come up on my 3-year anniversary of starting Fear, which is crazy. And that's when we talked for the first time.
Yeah.
I had just moved to Atlanta. I was in a really shitty relationship. Like, so much has changed.
Well, I'm glad the shitty relationship has changed.
That is long gone. I'm single, by the way. No. But anyway, yeah, so 3 years, and it's changed my life. I mean, I've gotten to meet people like you. I've become friends with so many incredible, creative, wonderful people. I just feel so blessed that idea came to fruition. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah. So the first week of June, we're doing the Fear Week thing. So yeah.
So you're going to be shooting for a week so that you can then do them over the next until 2020. So that's another 2 years worth.
Yeah.
So now, am I right in saying that you've only got 4 up so far of season 2?
We've only got 4 of the Molly Coffey directed episodes. And when I say, I think a lot of people get confused. So what Fear Haus is, just in a nutshell, is a highly curated anthology series with original wraparounds hosted by me.
Yeah.
So some people get really confused that we actually make the films. We do not shoot the films here in Atlanta. We shoot the wraparounds here. I find the films. I handpick and speak to every director personally. And I try and become friends with all of them. So I love all of you guys. Thank you. And girls. But we shoot the wraparounds here, and it's such a cool project for me because I get to literally revive these stories by having these intros. And it's a cool, like, full circle creative thing, I guess. I don't even know what to call it, but it's cool how it all comes full circle, and everybody that's worked on it just to my face seems to have such a good time, and it's such positive energy on set. And I've got quite a few people coming in that aren't even directing, that are just coming there to be on set, because it's actually going to be the last time we shoot on the soundstage that we've shot every single episode.
Right.
Yeah, so this is kind of like our last hoorah, and I want everybody to see Fear Haus the way that it's been, because Lord knows what's going to happen next. So yeah, I've got some people flying in from all over the country, actually, like some bloggers and writers and people from horror websites, just to come see the set and experience the fear.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds really exciting.
It's going to be a crazy week. I will really die after it, because I go to con, and then I have 2 weeks, and then we just do Fear Week. Right.
Yeah. That sounds a little like my next week. Yeah. Like that.
Rockstar, hashtag Rockstar Life.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm really looking forward to it, but it's kind of like, because I'm going to be in Texas next weekend, and then Edinburgh the following weekend. Yeah, I'm at Frightmare.
Oh, I'm going to miss it again.
Oh, I'm such a shame, because of course Clive's going to be there. So, it's Clive and the Cenobites, and we did it once in the UK.
Yeah.
And that's about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
And he
if not
doesn't do
longer.
a lot of appearances.
No,
right?
he doesn't. This is the first one he's done in a long time.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be extremely special.
We'll
They're
rub
doing,
it in, Nick.
and they're doing a special screening of Hellraiser on the Thursday, I discovered.
Cool.
So I fly in, do the Q&A for the screening, and then sleep for a bit, and then I'm booked the whole of the Friday as well. I've got stuff going on, so it's just going to be very, very intense. But I'm seriously not complaining. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Any folks who watch the show, and I'm already good. Yeah, no, absolutely. And people so a week of Fear Haus, all these episodes and so on. So yeah, as you say, this is a curated show. So let's just talk a little bit and just give people teasers of the 4 episodes. Now, do people watch these on Facebook or watch these on YouTube for season 2?
So right now, very soon, all the original episodes will be coming down, and we'll be redoing our YouTube. But right now, it's all going on Facebook because I want as many people to see these films as possible,
right.
And that's where my largest reach is right now. We've been in talks with a few platforms. It gets really muddy when you start involving other people. So lawyers have to get involved and all this, shit. So we've been talking to specifically a new digital platform based out of Atlanta,
right?
Which I think we're going to go forward with, which will be cool because they do a lot of really cool stuff with their content creators, but that's not confirmed. But right now, like I said, the whole point of putting these episodes online and on Facebook particularly is because Fear Haus has always been kind of a step-by-step process. Like there's tiers to it. And the series online is just like the base. Like that's not where we ultimately want to go. Ultimately, we want to make feature films, and we're very close to doing that. We just have to grow the audience. You know how it works. You have to keep growing the audience and yada, yada, yada. So that's really the purpose of putting it on Facebook. But,
Right. Yeah. Because I've seen the episodes that have been getting really, really high hits, which is great. Really great for the writer directors and everybody who's involved in the short films. So you kicked off the season with our mate Andy Stewart's film Ink. I love Andy. He's such a sick puppy.
I can't wait for his next film.
Yeah, Andy, me neither.
Andy, I can't wait for your next film. I know you're watching.
Yes, absolutely. And for me too, Andy. I really want to see what you're up to.
I wanted to start with a bang, and I wanted people. So there's 2 main things that I look for in Fear Haus. I look for a message in the film. Like there's so many amazing films, but some of them are just really pretty to look at. I want you to watch the film and feel something or think about it in some way. And we actually we started a book club or a watch club where we can discuss the films weekly with the directors too. And that's been really cool because people can dive a lot deeper than I even can into these films. And it's really interesting to see their perspective. But nevertheless, I wanted to start out with a bang, and I've always loved Ink. And Andy and I have been in cohorts for a while now. And he's been very, very patient. Bless him. And so I wanted him to be first. He's OG. He was episode 4 of the original season.
That was with Split?
It was Split.
Yeah.
And then I've played all of his films, except Dysmorphia, at every festival I've ever done.
Right.
So, yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Andy as a filmmaker and a friend. And
yeah.
So I hope it was worth it for him. I hope the premiere episode of Fear Haus was worth it for him. But yeah, everybody check it out. If you like gore, he is, and I've said this in probably every interview I've ever done. He is he's the new Cronenberg in my opinion. He could be. He's
it's
great with body horror.
His stuff is really for those of a strong disposition. And because I have literally sat in an audience and I think, which one was it? It was one of the most recent ones, and somebody collapsed. I think it was the one that I was in.
Remnant.
Yeah, and somebody collapsed during the screening of that, and it's and that's not. And to be honest, Remnant isn't as strong as some of the others.
No, Remnant's more psychological.
Yeah.
But I played that at Rome, and there was a gynecologist in the audience, and that whole film is about gynecological issues.
Yeah,
and she told me that was her favorite film, and like we had this like whole long, lengthy discussion about the medical side of the film, and it was really interesting. So. Yeah, love Andy's work.
Yeah, cool. All right. So if you haven't, I think yes, definitely not safe for work. This one, but watch it. It's absolutely extraordinary. Right, I'm going to take a quick break just to ask a couple of questions that have come in. Jonathan from Jonathan and Matthew. Jonathan's first, hoping you able to do another 3 years of bringing Fear.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm assuming Jonathan Hughes.
Yes.
Of course. There's no other Jonathan.
There is no other Jonathan.
There's no other Jonathan.
No, of course there's no other.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. He also wanted to ask about the time Blair visited a location from The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah. That was last year, and I was in LA, and I got hired to work on a shoot that had nothing to do with Batman. I think it was for a fitness video. It was kind of off the cut, like random, got hired to work, and they were shooting at the Dark Knight location at the where he keeps all his shit, like his technology and stuff.
Oh, wow.
The lighting panels on the ceiling.
Right.
That location. It's just a random ass warehouse in Los Angeles. So from the outside, it doesn't look like shit, but inside it was like, okay, this is cool. I spoke to the owner when we were done shooting, and I was like, "Did you meet Christian Bale?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's a really cool lad." I'm like, "Dope." But you know how like filming is, it's movie magic, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When you see that stuff in real life, you're like, this is what it really looks like? Wow. Okay.
Well, I remember we did Nightbreed. We filmed out at, was it Nightbreed? No, it's Hellraiser. Hellbound. Hellbound was the first one we filmed out at Pinewood. And of course they had the original Tim Burton set outside the street in the original Batman. The Tim Burton. And I remember because like, oh wow. And of course, because you see it all from the back with all the scaffolding and so on, it's just like, I need to be there, I think probably been there about a year or so. So it looked magnificent, it looked even more distressed than it did originally. And it's absolutely fascinating to see it. Matthew Solomon asks, how was the experience of filming with, working with Lucia Gore? And do you have any plans for collaborating with them in the future?
It was literally one of the best experiences in my life. Their team, Rainer, Luke, and Gigi, I literally can't say enough good things about them. I love all three of them equally. Gigi literally is my sister from a past life. I'm like, I miss her every day. I'm like, why are you in another country? I've like tried to convince her, like, just come stay here. No, they're creatively such a strong force, and they, not only that, they have like some of the most positive energy I've ever been around. Like they just make you want to like work harder and be a better person. I don't know. That's so cheesy, but it was.
I know exactly, because I've had them on the show. I've still yet to meet them in person. But again, you're absolutely right. seem to convey that, and everyone I know who's spoken to them, and because they were a Vancouver Badass with some friends of mine earlier in the year, and yeah, they're just very, very inspiring people.
Yeah, they are. They are. But working together in the future, I really hope so. I've prompted them with a few ideas, and they're always down. They just want to make stuff. That's the other thing about them. They're just like really gung ho, and they're just like, yeah, like if we got the time and the money, let's do it. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. No, very, very inspiring people. I La Quinciera. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I can actually see it over here yet. So I'm waiting to discover whether or not I can.
They gave me a little sneak peek when they were here, and it's really good.
Yeah.
A little bit of a departure from what you're used to seeing, but it's choice.
Yeah, no, they were discussing it on the show, and yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to that one. Cool. All right. So let's go back to Fear Haus for a moment, season 2. Episode 2 is They're Closing In. A nice, really small, the ultimate 2 people in a room, plus a little bit more to it. Tell me a little bit about the filmmakers of.
Well, I actually got to meet the director at Chattanooga 2 weekends ago, and
right.
I felt really bad because, like, you know how it is. Like, you talk to people online for so long, and like if they don't have a picture on their Facebook profile, I just don't know. So I'm literally in a conversation with a bunch of filmmakers, and the director walks up, and he's just talking to me like he knows me, and I'm like, and I say to this other editor from LA, I was like, Josh, you're gonna introduce me? He's like, and then he goes, you know me, I'm on Fear Haus. I'm like, oh shit, they're closing in. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But then we ended up drinking, and we got a picture together. So he's a really cool guy. But I would love for him to come down to. I want everybody to come to Atlanta.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a cool place, but we're New Hollywood too, so
yes, yeah,
stuff's going down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, what was the name of the director again?
So Daniel did Bodies, and I did this in Chattanooga. I forgot his name.
Sorry.
He's gonna be like, God damn it, Blair. I'm looking at my picture of him.
But listen, I met an old friend of mine last night. I was out, incidentally, guys, if you're going to, whilst you have a think about that, if you're going to Edinburgh Festival,
Jared Blinkhorn. Jared, I'm so fucking sorry. You were like
Jared Blinkhorn.
Yeah, Jared.
But I was just going to say, I was out last night. Craig and I were out last night at the theatre. We went to see a play called Cream Tea and Incest by Benjamin Alborough, and it was his mom. Basically, the reason we were seeing it is because his mum, I was at drama school with, as was Simon Bamford, and we were there. And we messed up with another old friend of ours from drama school. He was admitting the fact that he's so bad with names. He's actually got his wife's name wrong in company.
Oh, God. That, I would be very embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed about Jarrett because I already did it. So he's.
But it's just like, really? And now, of course, I'm just terrified that I'm going to introduce Craig as something entirely ridiculous because the idea has been implanted now. But yeah, so I'm sure he'll forgive you. So they're closing in again. Watch it. And so just to reiterate and just make sure people know, so you can find, if you just search for Fear Haus on Facebook, you will find the page, and that's where you can see the the films, or you can look on YouTube to see season 1. And there is it's a group on Facebook called Fear Haus Watch Club.
Yep.
And that's what you were referring to earlier on as well. So just check that out.
But
folks.
yeah, you could Google Fear Haus anywhere, and it's very easy to find. That's Fear Haus.
Yeah. You've got a good, your search engine optimization is very good on Google.
Oh, good. The hard work has paid off.
Yes, absolutely. So episode 3 is The Bodies.
Yes. And that's actually one of my personal favorites because it's so trippy, and I love stuff like that. And that's Daniel's film. I know his name. Bodies is really cool, and again, I'm really into medical stuff, so it's got some of those elements, and it's episode 3.
It is trippy. It's kind of like I was thinking, oh wow, but okay.
Yeah, you don't really quite know what's happening
the
whole time, which I enjoy in a film.
Yeah. And very well produced and extremely effective.
It looks great, yeah. That's the thing. Like all of Fear House's selected films are so cinematic, and the production value is so high, and it's hard to choose sometimes because I know so many amazing filmmakers. It's crazy. Yeah. It's so crazy. But yeah.
And the fourth one is The Herd, which I believe is Melanie Light.
Yes.
Where did you first see that one? Do you remember?
I don't know, actually. And I said, so I stayed with her in LA last year, and we just had a ball. We had the coolest Halloween experience. We went and saw John Carpenter live.
Oh, wow.
Play all of his original scores with his son in a live band on Halloween night. It was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know where I saw The Herd the first time, but I know that I remember how I felt when I saw it, which was, this is one of the most incredible films, short or full length, that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I screened her at Rome, and then I think I immediately asked her after that, like, hey, can I put you on the show that I just started? Because I actually just had started Fear Haus. But I wanted to have better production value on my end before I did her film, because I wanted to do it justice. And unfortunately, that is, for me, I'm not putting this on Molly or anybody else. That wraparound for that one is my least favorite. But I think it also comes down to, I'm such a fan of that movie. Like, I just wanted to do it so much justice. So,
it's really, it must be very, like, that must be very, very hard to get the wrap. Who writes the wraparounds?
So we've gone through different iterations of who does it, and it used to be a friend of mine named Emery, and he wrote all of them, and he is a fantastic writer. But what we kind of learned was, if we're going to have these directors come in, we really want them to have the experience of conceptualizing fully the wraparound. So then we gave the task to them, and that's been wonderful. And then, each episode kind of has the vibe or the feel of all of those directors too. So Molly wrote with her friend 6, and then Lucha Gore as a team wrote 6, and then the directors that are coming in, they'll write their own. So
right. No, they look gorgeous. The wraparounds look gorgeous. And I saw Melanie's film The Herd at Celluloid Screens in Sheffield, which must have been at least 3 years ago now, when it won Best Short Film. Naturally, the award. I remember talking with a couple of friends, Dominic Brunt and Joe Mitchell, and Joe was on the judging panel, jury, and he was just so enthusiastic. It's a difficult watch, and I remember just sitting there at the beginning and just thinking, what the hell am I watching? What is this? And it's got Pollyanna McIntosh in it, I believe. Yes,
she's fantastic.
She's amazing. But the whole concept, and as you say, you're not going to drink milk or eat beef after you've watched this movie. And
that was kind of what I was going back to. I search high and low for movies that have a purpose. And Melanie's films have a purpose. She's trying to say something. She's a very, very adamant vegan and animal rights activist, and I respect that. So, her films are 100% reflection of her morals and how she
Yeah.
feels about the world. So
Yeah. And she's is she yeah, brilliant, absolutely superb. I'm looking forward to seeing more from Melanie.
yeah, me too.
What's the next, or what and when is the next episode of Fear House coming up?
So big announcement May 6th. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That seems
May
fair
6th
enough.
is our.
That's not long to wait at all.
Nope, and it's our 3-year anniversary, so it's a big day.
Right.
I'm going to pop some bottles. No, May 6th, I'm going to be announcing the release date, and there may be a little surprise too that day. So.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, and the best place for people to find that out, I guess, is on the Facebook page.
Facebook, of course, and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the 3 films that you kindly chose to as influencing you. Let's start with Suspiria. When did you come across Suspiria?
First time I saw that, I think I was 16, and
Wow.
I had smoked a really large blunt. Sorry, Mom.
I just got this lovely vision of you actually toking a plant.
You know what's funny? I was having this conversation with my roommate the other day. I cannot smoke anymore. It gives me anxiety. I literally can't. I can't do it anymore. And I feel bad because like all my friends are stoners. And I can't partake. But back in the day, when I was a wee baby in Atlantic Beach, Florida, I had a few times, high times. But anyway, I think I was 16, and I was going through this phase where I wasn't getting any stimulation creatively. I felt I had gone from a school. I had gone from an art school, and I had been in the arts pretty much my whole life, and I was a theater major at a pretty prestigious art school in Florida. And then I got into the theater program at Douglas Anderson, which is also a big arts high school. And it wasn't doing it for me. They were beating the fun out of it. I didn't feel like I was able to tell the stories I wanted to tell, because I've always been attracted to horror, and they were very much opposed to that in a lot of ways. And I felt like for being at an art school, my creative freedom wasn't harbored very well. So anyway, I left there and I went to my home, my neighborhood school, which was just a shit show. Very like Fast Times at Ridgemont High kind of vibe.
Right.
And I was not, I just didn't fit in anywhere. There was just nowhere for me. There was no little, like, I didn't fit in with the goths. I didn't fit in with the like weird kids. I didn't fit in with the jocks, but I kind of did, sort of. So I just was kind of a lost soul. And I really kind of fell into metal music and looking at really weird shit on the internet, like really weird shit. And I think I found this forum that was talking about international horror films, which I had never, at that time, knew anything about horror films from other countries. That was never presented to me. And Suspiria was on the top of the list, and I think I just found it. I think I got it off LimeWire or something. I was a bad kid. Oh my god. So yeah, and I watched it, and it changed my life. I just had never seen a film like that. A film that looked like that, with a female lead like that. So yeah, it's just always been a huge influence for me.
Right.
And the first film I ever directed, First Date, I'll never forget, with the DP of that film. I was 21 when I directed that film. And I'll never forget, like, showing him pictures of screenshots from Suspiria, and like, this is what I want it to look like. Like, it needs to look like this with the red and the blue and the opening shot of my film First Date is completely pulled from Suspiria. So
I'd not seen it before. It's like
really,
it's huge gaps, and because it's kind of a generational thing, as I kind of explained to people over the years, that basically when I was growing up and doing there really weren't video players when I was growing up. So you were, and they weren't, these things weren't screened in the cinemas. I lived in Sussex, not in the city, and so on. So, and again, so there are big gaps, and I kind of want to catch up with all these things over time. But it was my first time watching it. It is so saturated. I love that saturated palette. I love the fact that in the director of the school, in that amazing room where she holds her meetings, there are Aubrey Beardsley prints on the screen. These beautiful black and white things. Are you familiar with Aubrey Beardsley, the artist?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's from the film.
Yeah.
I saw it in the film and I looked up who it was.
Right.
It was so awesome.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's Sally. I suspect a couple. You don't really see them that closely.
Well, I've since I was 16, I've been on a gagillion forums and websites and whatever talking about Italian cinema. So I've dug and tried to find everything I can, and Argento has become one of my favorite directors. And Mr. Solomon has gifted me with some amazing limited edition releases. Like, he sent me the German release of Suspiria, which is this huge book thing with all kinds of really awesome goodies in it. And yeah, so Suspiria is in so many different ways changed my life, including becoming a filmmaker. So
right. Yeah, I'm so pleased I got to watch it. It is. I love it. In fact, it's set in Germany. I love the scene in the beer cellar with the guys dancing together and something.
You literally just watched it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay.
I feel partly responsible. So I got to area. You're welcome, everybody.
Well, it's interesting. As I say, it's interesting because I will talk about the Shining next, because when I was putting together the image to advertise this show, I was like, oh cool, I've got two corridors. I've got two women with knives, and I've got two corridors in this. But before we get to talking about The Shining, I've just had another question come in from Matthew Solomon. Do you have films chosen for all 60 of the new episodes for Fear Week? How do you find the time to watch all these movies?
That's a loaded question. I don't know. I don't know. I just do it. And I'm a cinephile, so I would be watching them anyway, probably. But to the amount and the extent that I do, I don't know. But yes, I have more than 60 chosen, Matthew. I have 160 maybe at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, I think something like that. And the wraparound directors, all but one, have chosen the 5 films that they want to do. So
right.
Yeah, it's all done.
That must be the most amazing spreadsheet list of
it's
yeah.
And only a few have access to it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing all these things. Okay, so let's move on to The Shining. Again, when did you first come across The Shining?
I think my mom actually showed me that one. I feel like I remember watching that one with my mother. And I'm such a Kubrick fan, which is so, feel like I should have a different director, but then I would be a hipster because I'd be lying, because Kubrick is actually my favorite director. But that's so cliche. Like, I'm a filmmaker and I love Stanley Kubrick, but it's true. Yeah, first time I saw The Shining, life-changing kind of film. And apparently for a lot of other people, because there's a whole documentary about people seeing The Shining for the first time and literally obsessing over it. Room 237.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but it's pretty interesting. Just
I've not seen it. No, I've not. I heard it's on. It's interesting to ask people about their most influential films. It's amazing how often it comes up. Yeah,
they really have some interesting takes on the film. Like, just the most minute details in the film. Like, there's a scene in this documentary where the lady's talking about this poster that's in the rec room when Danny's throwing the darts or whatever, and the twins are in the little doorway, and she's like honing in on this poster, and like she has this whole like literally diatribe about what this poster means, and it's like, I mean, I don't know, like, does it really have that much?
I think I have watched this. This is where they describe the fact that the pattern of, or perhaps that's just another thing I've seen. The pattern on the carpet proves that Kubrick directed the moon landings.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I have seen this.
It's like, what? But okay, whatever. You know, conspiracy theory. But I very much like Suspiria. I just obsess over symmetry and that the Kubrickian style of cinema, like, you know, having the symmetrical framing. And yeah, God, I've seen that movie so many times that it still gives me this feeling in my gut, and I feel like that's the sign of a great film. That you can watch it over and over and over again, it still gives you a visceral reaction.
Yeah, I remember reading the book, incredibly powerful book. And what I haven't seen and would really like to see is the TV version, because King didn't like and doesn't like
the feature.
Stephen King really doesn't like the Shining movie. Because it's so different from the book you wrote, in many aspects. But it's I was a friend of mine, I probably mentioned before, a friend of mine gave me a Stanley Kubrick box set, which I'm still working my way through. There's still a few that I haven't actually watched yet. Yeah, because for you it's Kubrick, for me it's Hitchcock, and again it's a generation. I think it's a generational thing. Because I remember when I went to see 2001, I saw 2001 when it first Space Odyssey when it came out, and I was expecting a science fiction thing like Star Wars. This long film, 2000. It was like, and now I look at it again and I think, actually, I can sit and I can watch
and appreciate.
Yeah. I did in 2001 where I don't know if you've ever seen it. Somebody had the bright idea of screening a film onto a single photographic plate. So that you basically literally every scene, literally every frame is put onto one plate.
Right.
And becomes one image. And for 2001, which it is just the scene in the boardroom where they're discussing this, where Kubrick has just placed the camera, and it literally, and it goes on for like 10 minutes, and that's the image that you can see. Looking at the Kubrick ones, you see he does like his scenes where he puts a camera in one place and watches, and you just watch the action. It's very interesting as far as I'm concerned, you know, because you're just it's almost like watching a play on stage.
Agree.
Wonderful. I must watch it again, actually. Be interesting to see. I mean, I've watched the making of documentaries, you know, the huge great lights and what they did with what they went to
it was a massive production. Crazy.
And because it's his daughter who shot the making of documentary.
She did that for The Shining as well.
Yeah, sorry, I meant for The Shining. Sorry, I've moved back onto The Shining.
I love watching Jack Nicholson on that set.
Yeah.
Like, God, I want to be his friend so bad. Jack Nicholson, if you want to be my friend,
if you're watching, Jack.
If you're watching.
Yeah, message me. I'm sure we can, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, he's, I ask a lot of people, like, in the industry, I'm like, who would you be starstruck by? And for me, it would be Jack Nicholson and Angelina Jolie.
Interesting.
Yeah. I have such a crush on Angelina Jolie.
She's a talented actress.
But she's just, God, she just seems so powerful. She's,
yes.
Exudes this power. So,
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, Angelina, if you're watching. Yeah, I'm sure.
Angelina, let's keep running.
We're kind of making this into a dating website.
Yeah. No surprise there.
Yeah, it'll happen one day. That would be really cool.
Who would you be starstruck by, Nicholas?
Oh God. Oh, is it because they're mostly dead? The one person I'm easily starstruck. I really am easily.
Really?
Yeah. No, oh God, I once bumped into Orlando Bloom. I could not speak.
Oh my God.
I'm all right if I know I'm going to meet someone.
Right, but it's
that's fine, because whenever it's kind of like, okay, because that mostly happens at conventions, and I always go through the guest list and say, oh, they're really cool. I really hope I can spend a little bit of time, and you never do because you're always so busy. But it's I'm just ridiculous at, as in most things. But yeah, so that was my reaction to Orlando Bloom. But obviously, it's going to be Vincent Price.
Okay, yeah.
That is because he was just such a Renaissance man.
Yeah. Such a presence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember being very starstruck when I first met Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, right, yeah. I met him at Spooky one time. He was very
I've met Malcolm quite a few times, and he just takes the rib out of me. He just takes the piss out of me so much.
He's a character.
He really is. He's a fascinating. And again, because these guys have just got. I mean, what I love about Malcolm is you don't do a Q&A. Malcolm doesn't do hosted Q&As anymore. He just stands up on stage with a microphone.
Yeah.
He handles the audience. Yeah. And it's just fabulous to watching Malcolm talk for an hour responding to questions is fascinating. Which leads me on to a question from Kim. Hi, Kim Lehman. Blair, which film are you a bigger fan of? The Shining or A Clockwork Orange?
The Shining, but I love A Clockwork Orange. I actually feel like I am a character in Clockwork Orange sometimes. I identify with A Clockwork Orange more, but as a film in whole, I like The Shining.
Okay, so you've just revealed a deeply psychologically interesting statement. You identify with the characters of The Clockwork. Which ones?
The Droogs, the Alex.
Really?
I feel like a female Alex sometimes. Like, sometimes I just feel like I want to fuck shit up just to see the reaction of people. Just to see what happens, I don't do it, but I think I think about it, But I really identify with that character. Yeah, which is
you read the book?
It's kind of scary, but I really do.
Have you read the book?
I have, and it's a hard read. So it's not even real, British. It's kind of fake.
It's a combination of the. I remember a friend of mine saying he just got 20 pages in, and the glossary was at the back of terms of the translation, because there's a combination of English and Russian. And he just tore out the pages at the back so that he could have them beside him on the table whilst he was reading this book, so he could quickly.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and I was thinking, now of course you can read it on a Kindle and you just tap on it and it'll give you an idea of what it. I love the use of language. It's just extraordinary. And again, it's decades since I read a Clockwork Orange, but it's a really interesting. And I remember watching it on stage.
Oh, I would love to see it.
Yeah, it was at the National Theatre in the Olivier, which is their really, like 2,000-seater proscenium arch. Revolving stage auditorium. And yeah, the moment of the eyes and yeah,
Ooh,
just yeah, but yeah, extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. Okay, oh god, we're running out of time. Let's move on to the Twilight Zone, the movie.
Okay.
Which is your favorite of those four or five, really? Because there's a wraparound.
We talked about it last time we chatted.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember John Lithgow's name. So this is now a theme. Every time Blair does an interview, she's going to forget somebody's damn name. Anyway, yeah, the airplane scene. So first of all, I have very terrible flight anxiety in real life. So that particular movie actually scares the living shit out of me. Yeah, that whole movie though I threw that one in. That's probably not my favorite movie of all time, but I wanted to talk about it because it's an anthology, and my business is making anthologies. So
yeah,
I was like, I should include my favorite anthology, and that's it. I love the wraparounds. I love. A lot of people don't like the one where the guy's in Vietnam and he's a racist in the bar, and I really love that one too. And I think that particular anthology has a really good mix of like visual horror, psychological horror, the segment with the little kid that's magic or whatever.
Anthony.
Anthony that brings the stuff out of the TV. I love that one. Yeah. I love that film, and it's so fun.
It is. I mean, and Richard Matheson, the writer of I, Legend, is responsible for at least 3 of the stories. Because, of course, what they did was they took really popular TV episodes and made them into a film. Because it's William Shatner in the original TV.
There's something on the wing of the plane.
It's good. And it's because it's 1983 off the top of my head, and it's like you look at the size of the plane and the fact everyone's smoking on this plane. You think, really, people used to smoke on planes?
I can't even imagine.
Which is why you still have those little, fasten seat belts and no smoking. They've still never got rid of.
Could you imagine being on an international flight, breathing cigarette air for 8 hours? Like,
just
why would you do that to yourself?
Like, what possessed? There's all the cultural things as well. I love, funnily enough, the one you alluded to of the little boy Anthony. My name's Anthony. And it's my birthday, and my parents don't care. And it's just this wonderful concept of every kid wants to have wishes.
Yes.
The worst thing you can do is to give a child the power of wishes coming true, because they really are monsters.
Yeah.
And again, really saturated, this cartoon style and the amazing sets, and the bunny rabbit monster.
That scared me when I first saw it.
Me too. I hadn't realized. I'd obviously seen the image over the years and hadn't associated it with the movie. And it's just like, whoa, that's going to haunt me.
And I'm such a big fan of practicals, like everybody knows. And that film has some great in-camera effects. The demon on the plane has always been one of the most frightening creatures I've ever seen. And I think it's a great film. Yeah,
and I love the wraparound.
And I actually think it's a little underrated. I think that the Twilight Zone movie isn't talked about a lot, and I don't really know why.
I know, because perhaps because people have such affection for the original TV.
True.
And also now, of course, you can see the originals and get get hold of the originals and so on. But yeah, I think they did a remarkably good job, and I meant to check, but they mentioned Burgess Meredith in the. I'll get Craig to check this in the last couple of minutes of the show, if you can, Craig. Can you just check who does the narration voice in Twilight Zone, the movie? I think it's Burgess Meredith.
Yeah, I don't know that. So.
No, I recognize and of course they mention him in the wraparound, the episode of the glasses. So I think I'm right. Anyway, again, just wonderful choice. Really, really enjoyed watching that, and it's interesting for Suspiria. For me, it's not as scary as the Twilight Zone.
No, Suspiria is not like scary, but it's frightening. Like it's disturbing.
Yeah,
it's not scary.
You have these wonderful set pieces, and the death of the blind man, and that which was unexpected.
There's just moments that irk you.
Yeah.
Suspiria, which I prefer. I want that, for me, resonates more than jump scares or demons and boogeymen, and like I've never liked. I mean, I like it and I appreciate it, but I'm not like, I don't have a hard on for Halloween and Jason and all that. Like, yeah, I mean, my favorite, and why it's such a treat talking to you, my favorite monster or like boogeyman is Pinhead, probably. The other guys just never did it for me.
No. Well, there's something very intelligent about Pinhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is something very sophisticated.
He knows more than you know. And I feel like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are just very like physical.
Well, it's stalk and slash, it's and don't get me wrong, I love Freddy. And Robert Englund is just superb as far as I'm concerned. They're wonderful, and the whole concept. Michael, thank you very much, Michael Seats. The one of the reasons why I think Twilight Zone had problems, of course, because there was a terrible tragic accident during the filming of the first one.
The helicopter thing.
The helicopter thing, and I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't go and see it, because when it first came out, is because I think everyone was just had this, and the terrible loss of 2 children and 1 actor, and it just, and I've seen the footage of it, and it's just horrible thing. Now we're actually kind of coming to the end. I was right, it is Burgess Meredith. But before we do come to the end, you've recently been acting. You acted in a short film called Cracks.
I did. I'm coming to take your job. So.
Well, you're never going to take my job, because it's a long time since I've did drag. But
I would love to see that. You should bring that.
There is a photograph which I think Craig and I have eventually found, but I'm pretty certain we've lost again. There is a photograph of me in drag.
If you could scan that and send it to me, I would love it.
I'm holding that for a really No, I'm holding that.
Those are your personal stash. Yeah. I got cast, and acting is, and everybody tells me to do it, and just to reiterate, I don't consider myself an actress on Fear Haus. Fear Haus is just an extension of me. I'm hosting, so it's just an over exemplified version of myself. So to me, that's not acting. But no, Molly Coffey graciously gave me the opportunity to play her lead in her new film called Cracks. And we got into the Cannes Short Film Corner, which for me is an absolute honor. And the fact that this is my first technical leading role, I'm honored. So it's a really important film. And I really hope that when people see it, particularly women or any survivor of sexual assault, men and women, because it happens to both, it helps them heal. That was honestly why I did it. Molly, and she said publicly, she had an incident, and we met at a film festival, and we were talking, and I suggested she make a film about her experience, because that's what we do, and that's how we heal. And the next day she came to me and she said, I wrote a script and I want you to be in it.
Wow.
And that's how that happened. So literally from script to screen, she made that movie in 3 months.
Wow.
Maybe even less. Yeah. And we shot on film, which is super impressive.
It's really impressive. That's yeah, because I mean, I've had the experience of working on a short film shot on film, which will never see the light of day because it all just went wrong, and you can't really do anything about it once it's gone wrong.
We had an incredible team. Oh God, yeah, that was so. Just really quick anecdote, and maybe we can end on this. She hired a lot of women to work on this film, and it was beautiful. And a lot of survivors of sexual assault were on the film. And there's a scene in the movie. I don't want to give anything away, but the entire cast and crew, besides camera department, a stunt coordinator, my co-star, and Molly, the director, were in this tiny little bathroom, and everybody else was outside. And we did 7 takes. It was very draining for me. That was me. My bad. And it was a lot. And so when we were done, I had to take a minute and just kind of decompress. And when I turned around, all the women on the film set were standing there. And we all just hugged and embraced and kind of like cried with each other. And it was a really, really beautiful moment. And I kind of got then why the importance of the film. So yeah, I can't wait for everybody to see it. I think it's got a lot of soul, because it was made for to heal somebody. So
wow, and this is out on the festival run. You said it's going to Cannes.
Going to Cannes, and then we haven't heard back. I mean, she's sent it out to a lot of people. I know like her top choice is Fantasia, so we're waiting on that. I think that'll be like the official world premiere.
Right.
So cross your fingers, because she really, really wants to go there. And if we do, guess who we gonna be partying with? Lucha Gold. So I really hope we get into that. So no announcements on that yet, other than I will be in France representing the movie, and really excited.
I'm sure.
Little nervous. I've never been nervous to go to any festival or convention ever until now. Like, I just feel like this is the big time, you know what I mean? And I'm in the movie, so I feel like I have a level of obligation to represent everybody to the best of my ability. So I'll be drinking a few less tequila shots every day.
Oh yeah, I've never been to Cannes, and the stories I've heard.
Really?
I've never been to Cannes.
Everybody says it's fantastic. So.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. It's
now, real quick, will you be at Fright Fest this year?
I will be.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Then I'll see you there.
Yes. Oh, brilliant. Oh, superb.
I'm coming back.
No, absolutely.
I tried to come to Glasgow, but I couldn't get in the damn country. Yeah. A lot of people had that experience. This is Glasgow Fright Fest, folks. It was literally what happened to you for Spooky that one time.
Yeah.
To me. Trying to get to Scotland.
Yeah. You couldn't get across the Atlantic because of the weather. No, absolutely. And just to clarify, in case anybody missed it, Cracks, they're just waiting to hear about festival screenings. We're that early in the process. But yeah, you will find a lot of people, good people in Cannes. Just keep an eye on Facebook, and you'll find a lot of female directors and
yes. Well, Prano's going to be there. I know. You know Prano, right? She did. She's a British horror director. You should talk to her. She's awesome.
message me afterwards and make sure I got the name right. And I will, yeah, because I want to I need to bring some more females onto the show. Speaking of which, we are at the end of our time. Kim, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry I hadn't had time for your questions. What I will say is, just before we say goodbye, that to remind people, I think I've already announced this, there are no shows in May. For the simple reason, so that's a 4-week break. For the simple reason, I'm going to be in Texas next week. I'm then going to be in Edinburgh the following week. The next 2 weekends, I'm celebrating my mumble birthday. And then I'm going to be back on June the 3rd. And I just arranged this today. Speaking of females, I'm going to be talking with an editor. This kind of weird. The editor I'm speaking with is Johnny Maines, who is not a female, but we're going to be discussing a suggestion of ghosts, supernatural stories by female authors from the Victorian era. So that's going to be
very specific.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't had an author, and Johnny's an editor, and he does Best British Horror anthology that's coming out later this year. So I'm very excited to talk to Johnny. That'll be on June the 3rd. At the end of the month, I'm going to be speaking with Laurie Brewster and Sarah Daly about their film
Hex Media,
Hex Studios, Hex Media, their film Automata, which the Kickstarter will have finished by then, but I think you've probably got about a week and a half of the Kickstarter left, if that, come to think of it. I think, yeah. It's
The Unkindness of Ravens is a great film.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It was one of the first ones of theirs that I saw. It just blew me away at Fright Fest a couple of years ago. So check out Automata on Kickstarter. They're close to their £80,000 target. I think they were about 75% the last time I looked.
Yay, good Lord.
Yeah, they're doing, and I can't wait to see that movie. So, as I say, Blair, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, sir. And I can't wait to see you in London.
Oh, it was so cool you're going to be there again. We had such a good time hanging out.
Oh, you guys got me hooked.
Well, I shall hopefully. Hopefully, we'll get to hang out some more properly next time. Yes.
I want to have proper English tea with you. Like that's like
oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. That. Oh yeah. No, that can be arranged.
Okay.
That we can do. Okay. Yeah, I will bear that in mind. I'll make a note in the diary. There is a very nice restaurant not too far from where we're going to be, and they do a wonderful cream tea.
I would love that.
And then we can have the whole discussion as to whether or not you put the jam or the cream on the scone first, which is the discussion you always have when you're having a cream tea. So, which reminds me, folks, don't forget Cream Tea and Incest, which will be at the Edinburgh Fringe for 3 weeks in August. That's in August. Cream Tea and Incest. It's brilliant. It's the funniest thing I've seen. Craig and I just roared for an hour. It's so funny. Talented young men doing it. Brilliant. So, and I'll be plugging that more in August, but that's way ahead. Blair, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Nicholas.
And hopefully see a few of you folks in Texas or Edinburgh. Do message me if you're going to be there, or just let me know. Just say hi so I can greet you properly. And in the meantime, I will see everybody on the June the 3rd.
Sweet screams, everyone. Bye.
Love your sign off. So much better than mine, which